So please start in 3, 2, 1. Please start, sir. We are live.
Yeah. Hi. Hello, everyone. I am Akhil from marketing team, Procare-CV, Macleods. Cordially invite you all to this cardio masterclass to all DM DNB students for attending the key examination oriented case-based presentation with Viva and followed by the case. In the presence of the India's most eminent faculties and head of department. So welcome to everyone. Over to you, Dr. Chami, for the introduction part.
Thank you, Mr. Akhil. So very good evening, one and all. Very good evening, senior faculty members, senior doctors and fellow doctors. So we welcome you all to this last and final session of this Cardio PG Masterclass program. So to brief all the delegates, we have Professor Dr. Ajay Mahajan sir and Professor Dr. Kamal Sharma sir as our course director of this program. And for today, the discussion would be on EP and RFA spotter basics and beyond by our esteemed speaker for the day, Professor Dr. Aditya Kapoor. These are our senior faculty members who have been part of this program. And I now have the honor and opportunity of welcoming and introducing our course directors and our faculty members. We have Professor Dr. Ajay Mahajan sir, who is Senior Consultant Interventional Cardiologist, HOD of KEM Mumbai. Dr. Kamal Sharma sir, who is Senior Interventional Cardiologist, practicing at Sal Hospital and UN Mehta Institute of Cardiology, Ahmedabad. And today we have Dr. Aditya Kapoor as our esteemed speaker and eminent faculty. Sir is Professor and Head of Cardiology at Sanjay Gandhi PGIMS, Lucknow. We welcome you, sir. And with this, I hand over to Dr. Kamal Sharma, sir.
Hi, good evening. Thank you, Charmi. And I firstly welcome each one of you. And with the bottom of my heart, I'm thankful and I welcome Professor Dr. Aditya Kapoor, sir, who is a very eminent faculty all across the spectrum of cardiology across India and globally. Very importantly, he's known for his spotters. I've been having had an experience of attending a couple of such sessions, including the tracings of the pressures and EP tracings. And that's an honor for us to have and welcome Dr. Professor Aditya Kapoor, sir, who will be taking you through the EP tracings and learnings of the ECG, which can be the commonly asked spotters in the exams preparation for DNB as well as GM cardiology. So welcome, sir, and over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Kamal. Can I share my screen? Yeah. Am I audible? Yeah, so thank you, Dr. Kamal. Thank you, Dr. Ajay. And it's always a pleasure, to interact on any forum with Dr. Kamal, Dr. Ajay, because I was just telling him the kind of program they had designed and that's been conducted over the last 1.5 months. Looks like a super program. And he was telling me that there have been an overwhelming response of the DM students across the country. So thank you, Macleod team. Thank you, Dr. Kamal, once again. And a lot of students read Dr. Kamal's books on hemodynamics, on cardiac physiology. So, and I'm so glad that they have kept a topic on EP tracings, because sometimes this is a boring topic, but it's an important topic for those of you who want to take up arrhythmia in your future career. So I think it's a great choice. So as we go forward, what I'll try to do is something basic about EP. We all know that we place electrodes inside the heart, we electrically stimulate the heart, and either we do conduction system studies or we do tachycardia studies. So there are two spectrums, either Brady studies or tachy studies, but mostly nowadays EP is done to diagnose and to treat tachycardias rather than to sort of diagnose bradyarrhythmias. So we'll concentrate mostly on tachycardias. So this is says not a spotter like, but this is the LAO view and this is the sort of RAO view. So if who are the students? Keyur is there. If Keyur, you want to go ahead and tell us what is A, B, and C, and similarly in RAO, what is A, B, and C? Is Kevur around? Dr. Chami, is Kevur there, or who are the students?
I think Dr. Sandeepan is
Sandeepan,
there.
you want to go ahead?
Yes, sir.
What is A, B, and C? Where are the catheters positioned?
Sir, A is a quadrupolar electrode which is placed in the His bundle.
Good.
B is a decapolar electrode which is placed in the coronary sinus. And C is again a quadrupolar electrode placed in the HRA.
C is this one.
C is then RV apex, sir.
RV. Why do you say this is CS?
Sir, in LAO view, this is the usual position of CS, and the decapolar electrodes are marked by it, sir.
So one more thing which you can add if other students are also listening, good ones, and Sandeepan. So this is in the His bundle, this is in the RV apex, if you see in the RAO view also, and the CS actually crosses the spine. So it's a posterior structure. Yes. So in the LAO, it is crossing the spine, and as you rightly said, mostly we place a decapolar in the CS, but sometimes people may place a decapolar in the His, they may place a decapolar in the RV, but it's not usually by the decapolar, but the fact that in the LAO view, while you're coming from above the jugular, the thing is crossing the spine. And these are the distal electrodes, right? So, and these are the middle electrodes, these are the proximal electrodes. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that is how it is positioned. And again, this is marked out for you. This is a RAO view. So this is the high right atrium, the coronary sinus, which is foreshortened on itself. The ablation catheter somewhere placed near the tricuspid annulus, and this is the RV apex. So I can see Keyur online now. Keyur, where are you from? You're from KEM?
Yes, sir, I'm from KEM.
So that means you're a budding Yash Lokhandwala's protege, is it? So
yes, sir.
We'll ask you some questions as we go along.
Yes, sir.
So the high right atrium obviously will record an atrial electrogram. It shows a prominent A deflection. The His bundle will record a A, an H, and a V. And the ventricle, before we come to the ventricle, sorry, the CS will record a A and a V. And this is usually the shape of the A and the CS. It's a very sharp deflection. This is the A and this is the V. So what we also teach our guys in our institute, that first of all, in the sinus rhythm, try to identify in the say coronary sinus or in the HRA, what is the shape or what is the deflection of the atrium look like. So this is the A in the CS and this is the V in the CS. And the RV, of course, will record a V electrogram. So the atrium theoretically obviously will record an A, ventricle will record a V, His bundle will record an A and H and V depending on where exactly is it positioned, and the CS will record both A and V. A precedes the V. So if you see, this is the format of EP tracings. Whoever has seen EP tracings must be very familiar with this. So you have some ECG leads at the top, and here we have positioned the CS 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So here, for the benefit of everybody, I'm sure it's an easy question for you. By this format, can you tell me which one is the distal CS?
Sir, CS 910 would be the distal CS. Generally, the 1-2 is at the 1-2 is at the proximal and near the opening of the coronary sinus at the RA end, and the 910 is at the posterior end of the mitral valve along the left ventricle.
So what you're saying is right, but many people position it like that. But supposing I reverse it, by the activation of the atria signals in the CS, can you tell me which is proximal and which is distal? If the CS is activated, proximal to distal in sinus rhythm, no? So which will be, so which A will
be here? So CS 7-8 is where the earliest activity we can see, sir, here.
Correct. So as Cure says, if you mark out that this is the A, so you go by the P wave, I'll just drop up. So this is the A, this is the His bundle A, and these are the CS's A's. So if you see over here, the proximal CS is somewhere here, and this is a distal CS. This A is slightly later than this A, right? So this A, we have positioned our CS1, 2. This is a distal one. If you see clearly over here, this A is later than this A. So this is the distal CS in our tracing. And if you see this is the V electrogram, and this is the V electrogram, and this small thing was the H. So as Q rightly said, your CS12 to 910, your format may differ from an operator to operator. So even if you don't know, from this CS, if you see the CS activation is going somewhere like this, if you see my mouse. So this is the distal CS, and these are the proximal CSs, right? And this is the his bundle. So just tell me, Sandeepan, why is this A ahead of this A? You see this?
Sir, because the activation sequence is from his towards CS. So the first electrode will be a his potential. So that will be a because the his will be the first to be activated, then followed by the proximal CS.
So better, you're theoretically right, but a better explanation can be, you can reword it like that his bundle is positioned towards the right atrium side, isn't it? It goes from the IVC to the RA to the RV. So this A is reflecting the right atrial activity. And the CS, as Kior said, it is going posteriorly, so it maps the left atrium. So RA is activated before the LA. So this theoretically is the intra-atrial activation time. So his bundle A will always be ahead of the CSA. So this is how a normal tracing will look like. And of course, we have a lot of cycle lengths. We measure the cycle lengths, which are the interval between two either spontaneous A's or paced A's. Shorter the cycle length, faster is the rate. And this is how we calculate the rates in an EP tracing. This is all basically fundamental, so I'll not spend too much time on this. Who are the other students here? I don't know. Any other students? Ashwini, what is the AH interval? How do you measure the AH interval? Ashwini is not there.
Dr. Deepak Tomar, I can see.
Dr. Deepak, how do you measure the AH interval? Because even if you guys don't know, I mean, we can just discuss it as we go along. How do you measure the AH interval? Deepak, do you want to go ahead, or Kevor, you want to tell them how do you measure the AH interval?
Sir, we'll see the his electrogram, and the first reflection that will coincide with the sinus first three strips that we can say will mark the P wave, that will be our A on the his electrogram, and the next reflection after that will be the H electrogram. So when we measure that too, we'll get the AH intervals.
What is the normal value?
Sir, around 120 to 160, or I'm getting confused. I'm not sure of the normal values. HV is 40 to 60, AHs are 120 plus minus 5. Yeah, okay, 55 to 1.
So AH interval you measure from the atrial signal, onset of the atrial signal, as you said, to the onset of the his signal in the his bundle catheter recording, right?
Yes, sir.
And it reflects the conduction time through the AV node. And this is the normal value. And who else is there? Because Dr. Chami, you'll have to tell me who are all the students who are there, because
yes, sir.
Sometimes what happens is they don't know the question.
Mithilesh Yadav.
They switch them off. They switch themselves off.
Dr. Mithilesh Yadav, are you there? Yes.
How do you measure the HV interval? I can't hear him. There is somebody, some guys, listed as an iPhone. Who are you? I don't know. Sandeepan, you want to tell me what is the HV interval? So either you tell the students if they don't want to respond, they can switch themselves off. So whoever wants to answer, it's a spontaneous thing. I mean, we don't want to waste our time asking people who don't want to answer. What is the HV interval, Sandeepan?
So the onset of his signal on his bundle ECG, his bundle electrogram, to the earliest ventricular activation on a surface ECG.
A normal value?
35 to 55.
Yeah, so onset of the his to the onset of the QRS in the electrocardiogram, as you rightly said. So this is about 35 to 55 milliseconds. So again, these are basic intervals. And if you see over here, this is again what we do in our institution. We usually position the CS proximal as 910, 7-8 as 910, 5-6, 3-4 is the middle, and 1-2 is a distal. So if you see KUR over here, the CS is activating like this, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is from proximal to distal, but again, you can
Yes.
have anything. So if we measure out this is the sinus cycle length from A to A, correct?
Yes.
And this is the AH interval, it is about 60. The HV interval is around 46. So fairly standard and looks normal.
Yes.
So if you see over here, what is the HV over here, Kevor? Tell me.
Sir, actually looks like pre-excitation.
Excellent. Excellent. So as you rightly said, looks like pre-excitation because the HV is very short or looks almost negative. In fact, the H deflection probably begins just after
At the
at the ventricle. Yeah. So it looks like a clearly pre-excitation. So as you rightly said, this is a pre-excitation. If you draw out the H over here, so the H is, in fact, it's a negative HV. So whenever you have a very short HV or a very negative HV, you should suspect there is pre-excitation, correct? So whenever we have a supraventricular tachycardia, what I would recommend is that you consider the VA relationship in the tachycardia. Okay. First of all, you see the VA relationship, you see the VA interval. If the VA interval is very short, normally in a busy EP lab or good operators, they teach their students if it's a V on A tachycardia. If the A is following just over the QRS, it's a suggestive of a AVNRT. It's called a V on A tachycardia, very short VA interval. So you see the VA relationship, you see the VA interval, you see the atrial activation sequence, you see the initiation and the termination of the tachycardia, you see the change in cycle length with bundle branch block. So these are the 3, 4, 5 things which you should always consider in a SVT. So this is, we'll come to the SVT when we'll discuss these 4, 5 things. Normally, whenever we start an EP, at least in our place and most of the places, they will do an initial ventricle pacing. So when you do a ventricle pacing, what are the things you should look for? You do a incremental pacing, you give extra stimulus, you assess the VA conduction, whether the VA conduction is central, whether the VA conduction is extranodal, whether the VA conduction is absent. So absence of VA conduction also, you should note that whenever you do RV pacing, whether all the V's are conducting to the A's or not. If there is absence of VA conduction, it makes a reciprocating tachycardia or a AVNRT less likely. Makes it less likely, but doesn't actually rule it out. So sometimes you might have to cure. What will you do if there is absence of VA conduction? One is you will accept it, of course, but anything else you can do to bring it out? Sorry?
Not sure, sir.
Yeah, so you might want to give isoprenaline and things like that, so it improves, right?
Yes.
So you do a baseline VA conduction. If there is no VA conduction and you are suspecting strongly some AVRT or AVNRT, you might want to give isoprenaline.
Isoprenaline. Yes, sir.
By and large, absence of VA conduction rules out these tachycardias. And then you do decremental ventricular pacing, which basically means you keep on pacing from the RV apex at faster rates, shorter cycle lengths. And of course, you do extra stimulus testing. Right? So these are the 4 or 5 things you would want to do. So RV pacing, you look for VA conduction, right? So what I mean by VA conduction, so I have drawn out this thing over here. This is the right ventricle, this is the interventricular septum, and this is the LV. So the LV is of course slightly larger and thicker than the RV. So this is just a schematic diagram, and my catheter is in the RV apex, right? So when I do a ventricle pacing, I would want to see whether it is nodal. So whenever it is nodal, that means it is going centrally. Cure, where will be the earliest A?
Proximal, the CS catheter with the proximal one.
Correct. I can see somebody called Devrat also. So Devrat, where are you from?
I am from UN Mehta, sir. UN Mehta.
So if you don't mind, we'll keep on asking you something, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And who else can I see? I can see Sandeepan. Deepak, you can unmute yourself because I suddenly might ask something from you also. So, unmute nahi karo to at least video on karo. And Shanawaz is also there. So anybody who wants to answer themselves, they can also answer, right? So if it is nodal, that means it will go centrally, and as Q rightly said, the retrograde A will be earliest in the His bundle catheter, usually the proximal His bundle. And since the AV node decrements, as we become faster and faster with the RV pacing, the VA interval will keep on increasing. So that is the property of the AV node. तो जब हम RV pacing करेंगे, दो चीजें हमें देखनी है, whether it is nodal. If it is nodal, the earliest A will be in the His bundle. So if you remember this diagram, everything becomes easy. So it will be earliest in the His bundle, and since the nodal property is decrementation, as will increase the pacing rate, the VA interval will keep on increasing. Sandeepan, what will happen if it's a extra nodal thing? Where will the earliest A appear?
So the earliest A will be the CS electrode, which is most proximal to it. If it is a lateral pathway, it can be CS9, CS12.
Correct. So when it is extra nodal, if you see this, so this is a left-sided pathway like I have drawn. So if it is extra nodal, the earliest A will be in the catheter or the CS pole, which is closest to the accessory pathway. So if it is a left lateral pathway, perhaps CS12 will show the earliest A. If it is a posteroseptal pathway, perhaps proximal CS will show the earliest A. And usually, since pathways are non-decremental, as we increase the pacing rate, the VA actually remains fixed. There are some pathways which are decremental. Deepak, can you tell us any decremental pathway you have heard of? Deepak.
Sir.
कोई decremental pathway have you heard of? कोई बात नहीं. Devrat.
Mahim's fiber, sir.
Mahim usually it is antigradely, it decrements, but retrograde decrementation I am asking. So you are right. Mahim is usually a right-sided fiber. It doesn't conduct retrogradely.
So PGRD.
Sorry?
PGRD.
Absolutely, very good. So PGRD is one example of a decrementally conducting pathway. Kevor, where does the PGRT, where usually the pathway is inserted?
At the AV node, sir?
Usually it's close to the CS-os, posteroseptal area mein hota hai PGRT, but it can be anywhere. Usually close to the CS-os, ostium of the coronary sinus. So PGRT is one example of a decrementally conducting accessory pathway. They can be anywhere, but the most common is in the posteroseptal area. So supposing Sandeepan, it's a right free wall pathway. Where will be the earliest A?
Sir, if there is a right-sided catheter which is inserted, so
I have put a catheter in the, normally we put a catheter in the right atrium, right ventricle, and the CS.
Yes, sir.
तो मैं आरबी से पेस्ट कर रहा हूं, नोडल है तो हिज बंडल हो गया, लेफ्ट साइडेड है तो सीएस हो गया, अगर राइट फ्री वॉल है तो
RA can.
correct. So the reason for asking you guys this question was, so that is why you should at least have 3 catheters, right? RA में भी होना चाहिए, एक RV apex में होना चाहिए और एक CS में होना चाहिए. And of course the RV apex you can keep on moving around, so you can figure it out if it's if the earliest A appears in the RA somehow, you might want to suspect a free wall pathway, correct? So this diagram is clear. Can I move ahead?
Yes, sir.
So now, Devrat and team, what is happening here? So again, before you start analyzing, I'll just tell you one thing. जब भी EP tracings होते हैं, so सबसे पहले you look at the ECG.
Yes,
ECG से identify what chamber is being paced. That is what we teach our guys also. Once you have figured out which chamber is being paced, you will be able to identify what, if it is a RV, you want to figure out what is the VA conduction. Nodal hai, extra nodal hai, decremental hai, non-decremental, right?
Yes, sir.
Please tell me what chamber is being paced.
Sir, RV.
Excellent. So ये मैंने mark कर दिया आपके लिए, because the pacing spike is falling. Where is it falling? It is falling synonymous with the QRS.
QRS.
Correct. अच्छा, just tell me one thing. RV apex से pace हो रहा होगा या RV base या RV outflow tract के आसपास से? It is true RV apical pacing?
Sir, outflow track से कर रहा सर.
Probably it's slightly above the apex, because if you see, as you rightly said, AVF जो है positive है. यदि RV apex से होता तो AVF would have been negative. So again,
Negative.
things. But if you are able to diagnose these, you know, you will feel very gratified, because नहीं तो क्या होता है, EP tracings आते ही people get sort of jittery कि यार कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा. So सबसे पहले आप ये देखो कि कौन सा चेम्बर पेस हो रहा है, राइट? आराम से दिख गया, पेसिंग स्पाइक वेंट्रिकल के साथ अलाइन हो रही है.
Yes, sir.
Now this is the drive chain. हम लोग यूजुअली आरवी जब पेस करते हैं, यूजुअली वी गिव 8 कांस्टेंट पेसिंग बीट से एट 500, 450, देन एक एक्स्ट्रा स्टिमुलस हम देते हैं. सो दिस एक्स्ट्रा स्टिमुलस कीप्स ऑन डिक्रीमेंटिंग बाय से 10 मिलीसेकंड्स, 20 मिलीसेकंड. मान लीजिए ड्राइव चेन 450 पे किया, एक एक्स्ट्रा स्टिमुलस हम लोग 400 से शुरू किया. दिस 400 comes down to 380, 360, 340, 320. So this is the decremental drive extra stimulus. ठीक है, इससे हमें इस वाले बीट से फिगर आउट करना है what is the decrementation which is happening. So now you tell me, this is the pace. So this is the stimulus, right? S.
Yes.
Correct. CS में which is the A? This is the A or this is the A?
This, sir, the multiple lines, that is the A. The narrower one is the V.
So this is the V or this is the A, है ना?
Yes, sir.
Correct. So CS का always remember that usually the shape of the A is like this. But even if you don't figure out the shape, what is happening जब आप V pace करोगे, तो पहले स्टिमुलस के बाद V ही आएगा,
Yes,
उसके बाद ही A आएगा. स्टिमुलस के पहले A नहीं आ सकता, करेक्ट?
yes.
So अब हम VA कंडक्शन बेस्ट दिखेगी उस कैथेटर में जिसके अंदर आपको 2 डिफ्लेक्शंस दिख रही हैं, बिकॉज यू आर सीइंग VA और A देखना है, राइट? सो आइदर यू लुक एट द हिज बंडल. बेटर इन माय ओपिनियन वुड बी फर्स्ट लुक एट द CS. यू कैन लुक एट द हिज बंडल बट यू कैन लुक एट द CS एज वेल. सो अगर मैंने इसको मैप किया, स्टिमुलस V, दिस इज द A, राइट? मैंने एरो इसलिए बनाया बिकॉज हिज बंडल A इज क्लियरली अहेड, राइट? So, and if I mark out the A in the his bundle ka A is ahead of the CSA.
Yes.
Right? And if you see the CSs are activated like this from proximal to distal. ठीक है? तो जब आप RV पेस किया आपने, सबसे पहले उसने his bundle को पकड़ा नोड से, फिर नोड से it climbs back to CS, proximal, mid, distal CS. Correct? So it's very easy and you will not get confused. तो ये तो हमने ड्राइव चेन देख लिया, ठीक है? अब आप देखोगे एक्स्ट्रा स्टिमुलस में मोटा मोटा बस यहां से पहचानो, ये V और A का गैप इतना है, ठीक है? इधर V और A का गैप बढ़ गया. कैन यू सी?
Decremental.
So yeah, as Kyor rightly said, it's decremental. So you just see decrementation in the last beat, जो premature है, जो faster rate पे है. और अगर आप clearly इसमें देखो decrementation में the fact that the His bundle is early becomes even more prominent. ठीक है? Is it clear या shall I explain again?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. नहीं yes sir मतलब क्या दोबारा बताना है या clear है?
नहीं sir, clear है.
ठीक है. So this is nodal or extra nodal, Devrat?
Sir, extra nodal.
Extra nodal क्यों होगा? His bundle A early है और
Nodal.
decrement है.
Okay, yes, takes a long, yes, sir. Then nodal also.
So it is nodal, right? So this is how a nodal will look like. So जैसे ही मैं अब next tracing दिखाऊंगा, first of all, chamber paste, which A is the earliest, decrementation or not, right? So this is how you will, this is your first step. So we'll move ahead. So now cure, I'll ask you, which chamber?
Yes. Sir, ventricle is spaced, sir.
Ventricle.
And,
Apex.
RV
Apex or
apex.
outflow? Apex.
RV apex, sir.
Correct. So now what is happening? We see, मैं फिर से आपके लिए आपके सहूलियत के लिए I'll mark it out for you. This is the drive chain. This is the extra stimulus. ठीक है? Okay. So stimulus VA. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Stimulus VA. What is happening in the last beat? Just tell me stimulus VA. Stimulus VA. यहाँ पे क्या है? What is this?
Yeah, it did not get that is a stimulus.
What
That
is this?
his
V होगा ना?
probably, sir.
His तो हम देख ही नहीं
हाँ,
रहे.
V. Yes, sir.
And
V. And there is no A to follow, sir.
correct. So there is no A to follow. So stimulus आया, V आया, there is no A. So what has happened? It's a VA block.
Yes, sir.
So जब जितना हम premature इसको करते जाएंगे, there will come a time when the stimulus will come, it will get blocked retrogradely in the AV node, right? So ये, so this interval will become our ventriculoatrial effective refractory period, VAERP. So I'll just show you this thing again. So जैसे ये वाला ट्रेसिंग अगर आप देखो, इस वाले ट्रेसिंग में स्टिमुलस VA आया, decrementation हो गया, node is the earliest, right? As I keep on making this more and more premature, at some point of time this V will get blocked retrogradely in the AV node. So this is just a physiological study which we are doing. So now this interval becomes the VAERP. ठीक है? So VARP आप इससे देखोगे कि stimulus आएगा, V आएगा, it will not get conducted to the atrium. Correct?
Yes.
Agree? Okay. Shall I go ahead? Yeah. Kamlesh, good evening. So अब इस पे बताओ मुझे, I'll just pacing हो रही है because the pacing spikes are not very well visible, right? So Sandeepan, what is happening? I have just told you that pacing is happening in the ventricles. ठीक है? मैं इसको mark कर देता हूँ. So take my word for it. Sometimes the spikes are not well visible. So pacing is happening.
Sir, the surface ECG shows a LVV morphology, so it's RB pacing.
Okay.
The His bundle, there is a H, V, and A.
Just a minute.
Yes, sir.
His bundle में कहाँ पे HV आप जब आप RV पेस्ट कर रहे हो तो His bundle में usually spike दिखेगी.
Spike, V, and A.
A कौन सा? ये वाला?
ऊपर वाला है CS.
हाँ, CS में, right? Okay. तो His bundle बोल रहे हो ना तुम? So you are seeing a stimulus and somewhere here is a V and there is an A. Correct?
Yes, sir.
What is happening here? You are seeing the A.
Yes, sir.
यहाँ पे?
Yes, sir.
यहाँ पे?
There's no A. And there's no V either.
Actually, yes. So there is. So if you see, if everybody can see first pacing spike, second pacing spike, third pacing spike, fourth pacing spike. So there are 4 spikes. लेकिन उन 4 spikes के बदले में QRS केवल 3 है. Right? So this pacing spikes get, जितना मैं उसको और प्रीमेच्योर करता जाऊंगा, पहले वो नोड में ब्लॉक हुआ, फिर वो वेंट्रिकल में ब्लॉक हो जाएगा. Correct? So this is the, I'll mark it out, V to A, V to A, V to A. यहाँ पे there is actually only spike, no V. And the proof is you can't see a 4th QRS here. So this will become the, this interval becomes the ventriculo effective refractory period. पहले वाला था VAERP, that is you are getting a pacing spike and a V but no A. At some point of time you will only get a pacing spike and you will not get a V also, so that becomes a VERP. Another important point, if you see, अगर आप यहाँ पे देखो, देवव्रत and guys, you are seeing, यहाँ पे देखो, pacing spike के बाद there is a noise, so that means there is some signal. Spike, noise, यहाँ पे
spike, no noise.
No noise, right? So that is another proof कि the pacing spike केवल आया है और capture नहीं किया ventricle. ठीक है? So this point is clear?
Yes.
So जब आप RV pace करते हो, first चीज आप देख लोगे कि decrementation हो रहा है, his bundle A early हो रहा है. You will keep on pacing till VAERP and VERP. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we'll move ahead. Now, can you tell me what's happening? Which chamber? Sorry?
Sir, again, RV is paced, sir.
RV is paced, okay.
And apex because there's a negative deflection in VF.
Okay. And so, agar RV pace ho raha hai, so this is the pacing spike. This is the
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is the A.
Yes, sir.
So what do you think is the conduction?
Sir, it is not getting conducted through the.
It is not getting conducted through the AV node. So agar hum isko
Yes,
dekhen,
sir.
the drive chain, this is the extra stimulus. So this is the stem and the V, right?
Yes,
Now
sir.
I'll map out the A's. So which A is the earliest?
Sir, 1, 2, distal his is earliest.
Distal CS. और जो आप देख रहे हो, his bundle is clearly here.
Yes, sir.
His bundle is late. Stimulus,
Yes.
his bundle का ये बाहर पड़ा हुआ है, ठीक है?
Yes.
And CS is activated distal to proximal, ठीक है? So where would
Yes,
the
sir.
pathway be?
Along the lateral wall, sir. LV
Along
lateral
the-
wall.
So यहाँ पे हमने diagram से बनाया हुआ है. So this is the distal CS and somewhere here is the catheter. Okay.
Yes.
Is this point clear? Everybody understands?
Yes, sir.
कोई confusion है तो I can repeat it. Because these are simple things. But if you understand it once, I mean, there will be no problem. पिछले वाले अगर his bundle की conduction होती तो this A would be somewhere here, right?
Yes, sir.
ये his bundle है बाहर पड़ा हुआ है. CS इसको हम बोलते हैं eccentric activation of the CS, right?
Yes,
His
sir.
bundle है
Non-concentric.
या so वो concentric हो गई, ये eccentric हो गई. ठीक है?
Yes, sir.
Yuvan Mehta, you good? Shall we go ahead?
Yes.
थोड़ा यार मजेदार से तरीके से बोलो कॉन्फिडेंटली.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
हमें भी उत्साह है थोड़ा सा. हाँ ठीक है. Okay, I'm just joking. So this is what is called an eccentric VA, right?
CS gets activated earlier.
Yeah, CS gets activated earlier. अब मान लो, can you see my arrow over here? मेरा
Yes,
mouse.
sir.
So मान लो posterolateral pathway है. So this middle CS will get activated first. मान लो पोस्टोसेक्टल pathway है, so CS 910 will get activated first. Depends on where the pathway is located, right? Right free wall है, तो RA will get activated first. Sandeepan, ventricle pacing going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 QRSs, stimulus here. So clearly we can see all these stimuluses are capturing what is happening.
So the ventricular activation is not related to the atrial. AV dissociation, sir.
So you said that all the V's are not getting conducted to A. Somebody said ki Venki back hai, right? So the point is that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 QRSs and there are only 4 A's, right?
Yes.
So all the V's are not conducting to A, correct?
Yes.
So somebody said ki Venki back hai. So let us consider that also. Either it is VA dissociation or it is Venki back. Okay?
It's not Venki back.
Yeah. Who said Venki back वैसे? It's not a bad possibility. Who said this?
मैंने बोला.
हाँ कोई बात नहीं. So the first thing is all of you recognize that all the V's are not going to the A's, correct? Now अगर Venki back है, so if you see this V should go to this A, right? Supposing I say or prolong हो गया, तो this V goes to this A. So I say this, so this is not matching, you know, it's like does not match. So it's probably a VA dissociation. For Venki backing, you need more QRSs and more A's to clearly map out whether VA थोड़ा धीरे 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 बढ़ के एकदम से drop होता है क्या नहीं. But the point is, whenever you are pacing the RV, first of all, you should see whether all the V's are getting conducted to the A. अगर नहीं है, तो probably it's VA dissociation. If they are getting conducted, nodal है या extra nodal है, decremental है या non decremental है. Okay. So we'll go ahead. So all the V's are not getting conducted to A, probably VA dissociation. Okay. Now this is a prize question. Matlab, I will not give you the prize. Maybe the Macleod guys will. So, okay, Devrat and
Yes.
team. Matlab, koi quiz nahi hai. I'm just. So which chamber is getting paced?
Ventricle.
Okay. ठीक है, ventricle
Yes,
हो गया. And probably all the V's are getting conducted to the A's, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Right. So now you tell me something about the VA conduction.
The first one, 7, 8. Distance between the V and A is increasing.
Okay. So you find that something odd is happening. The pattern seems to be changing, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So if I try, कौन सी beat में pattern change हुआ?
Third.
Excellent. Third. So now I'll again, you know, if we go step by step, you will be able to figure it out. पहली 2 beats में it is proximal to distal or distal to proximal. CSS.
So it's proximal to distal.
Excellent. C7, 8, you know, it ऐसे लगता है ऐसे आ रहा है. Correct?
Yes.
Third, fourth में क्या हो गया? Third, fourth, fifth.
Distal to proximal.
So what has happened? Tell me.
Sir, initially the conduction was through the AV node and then the conduction is now taking place through the accessory pathway.
Superb. So अगर आप इसको इस तरह से, you know, you break it down, आपको 2 मिनट में पता लग जाएगा. So you say CS pace हो रहा है, I mean sorry, RV pace हो रहा है, correct? Now I see his bundle A is the earliest. यहाँ पे clearly देख रहे हो आप, his bundle A early है. CS, ये his bundle का A मैंने बना दिया. CS, as you correctly said, proximal to distal, ऊपर से नीचे. यहाँ पे जैसे ही CS पलटा, his bundle भी बाहर निकल गया. देखा आपने?
Yes.
यहाँ पे नोडल था, यहाँ पे पाथवे के थ्रू जाने लगा, तो इसलिए his bundle भी बाहर निकल गया. करेक्ट? So which pathway? Keur?
Sir, the distal his is getting activated earliest. So again,
No.
sided.
This is nodal, and this is CS12 is early. So which side is the
Yes,
pathway?
sir. Left side, sir.
Left lateral.
Yes, sir.
So इसलिए whenever you again I'll come back revising RV pacing, VA dissociation देख लो, nodal देख लो, extra nodal देख लो. Sometimes what is happening is कि as you become faster and faster, suddenly it will change from nodal to external, right? So this figure clearly demonstrates this, because if you remember by like this, it does not become difficult at all. You know? Change in the sequence. So this is RV pacing. So give just और कौन है? सजीत है. सजीत.
Yes sir.
सुन रहे थे ना?
Yes sir. हाँ sir.
अच्छा, thanks. So RV pacing में what all should you see whenever you're pacing the RV?
First of all, we have to see which chamber is paced, just as RV pacing.
Yeah.
Followed by we have to say it is VA decremental or VA dissociation, V2A. Then after it is SS3 pathway, or it is through the nodal pathway. That could be confirmed through the decremental is present or not. If it is
Correct.
decremental, then it is VA. That is through the nodal pathway, and if it is not incremental, then it is extra SS3 pathway.
Okay, excellent. I just got a message from Dr. Tanuj, guys. Tanuj Saab is a very senior alumnus of our place. और उन्होंने लिखा है कि I think he is also attending. तो उन्होंने लिखा है मुझे भी उत्साह आ गया. So let me tell you, Tanuj used to make some of the most wonderful EP analysis when he was here with us. And उसकी जो जैसे कैथ ट्रेसेस के बाद तुम लोग बनाते हो ना EP की slides. Tanuj used to make some wonderful diagrams, so that's why I thought I'll just mention him over here, because that if he's listening, it's a credit to me also that he's listening and he's contributing. So okay, so atrial pacing पे अब हम आ गए. So जैसे हम ventricle pace करते हैं, उसी तरह से atrial pacing में हम क्या देखेंगे? संदीपन?
Sir, similar to the VERP and the VAERP, we also look at the AERP.
तो अगेन जब हम वेंट्रिकल पेस करते हैं तो V to A देख लेते हैं. इसके अंदर हम एट्रियल पेसिंग करते हैं तो हम A to V देखने के बजाय बीच में हिज पड़ा हुआ है ना, तो we'll look at any AH jump. We'll look at AV nodal ERP. AV nodal ERP में हेलो अश्विनी, are you there?
Yes sir.
AV nodal ERP में क्या होगा? पेसिंग करेंगे, क्या आएगा और क्या नहीं आएगा? AV nodal ERP.
Sir, after the A wave, V नहीं होगा.
So after the A, V will not come. AV node में ब्लॉक हो जाएगा ना. और एट्रियल ERP में क्या होगा?
After the pacing, A wave नहीं आएगा.
पूरा सेंटेंस तो बोलो.
Sir, A wave after pacing A wave नहीं आएगा.
हाँ, A wave नहीं आएगा. जैसे VA ERP में पेसिंग स्पाइक के बाद V आएगा, फिर A नहीं आएगा, तो AV नोडल ERP में पेसिंग स्पाइक के बाद A आएगा, V नहीं आएगा. So this is what we'll see. So okay, देवव्रत, कौन सा चेंबर पेस हो?
Atrium.
Why do you say that? यार बाकी लोग अपने आप को म्यूट कर लो if you don't mind, because
QRS in AVF is positive and it is much after the spike. The spike appears earlier.
ये हो यार, किसी को कहो ये बाकी लोग कौन है, अपने आप को अनम्यूट कर लें. Can the admin tell the guys at least जो आंसर नहीं कर रहा वो अपने आप को अनम्यूट कर ले.
Hello, tech team, I request you. You have the host, so please.
Mute all. Mute all and allow only the participant to speak.
Sir, you can continue, sir, please.
जैसे आपने बोला कि ये अगर आप पेसिंग स्पाइक देखो तो इसको यार कोई आवाज आ रही है बहुत ज्यादा. So this pacing spike is following in the CS के साथ align हो रही है ना pacing spike.
Yes, sir.
And we know कि pacing spike CS के साथ align हो रही है तो atria pace हो रहा है, right?
Yes, sir.
So which chamber is being paced?
Atrium, sir.
Drive chain extra stimulus हमने बना दी जैसे पहले बना रहे थे.
Yes, sir.
So जब atria pace होता है जैसे संदीपन बता रहे थे कि you have a A, H and a V, right?
Yes, sir.
A, H and a V. And once we are sure कि all the beats are capturing, so A, H and a V, correct?
So is it AH jump?
हाँ, so who said this? अरे मैं वैसे ही पूछ रहा हूँ.
Sir, UN method. UN method.
UN method. So there seems to be an increase in the AH interval, right? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So AH jump का जो classical definition है, what is it? Because normally AV node decrements, right? So जैसे जैसे आप इसको extra stimulus को premature करोगे, AH थोड़ा थोड़ा बढ़ता जाएगा. Correct?
Yes.
What is a jump? Keyur?
Sir, out of proportion, the lengthening of AV.
Out of proportion. What is out of proportion?
60.
Sandeepan? So classically, what is defined is कि अगर आप
more than
50.
चलो
more than 150 milligrams.
चलो this is your job, you read it up, but it is usually जैसे out of proportion तो केवल ने बताया, लेकिन there is a specific interval. अरे यार ये कौन है? कहाँ से आवाज आ रही है ये? So anyway, so there is a slight increase in the AH interval, right? Usually some books say अगर 10 millisecond का आप extra stimulus कम करोगे तो 50 millisecond का jump आना चाहिए, right? So UN method again. Which chamber?
Atrium. Atrium, sir.
Okay. Now what is happening? I'll remove this. How many pacing spikes? How many pacing spikes in all? 1, 4, 4.
3.
1, 2, 3,
4.
How many QRSs?
3, sir.
That means the fourth pacing spike is not followed by a QRS, correct?
Yes, sir.
So आसान है देखना. So don't get, sometimes when you see the tracings आपको समझ नहीं आता कौन सा channel देखना करना क्या है. So if your principles are clear, तो आपने clearly जल्दी से देख लिया. Drive chain extra stimulus the last. अगर मैं अब इसको इससे मैप करूं AHV, this last pacing spike A is there, but V नहीं आया, correct?
Yes.
So what is it? What is this?
AV block.
AV node ERP. AV block तो है ही. So it is AV nodal ERP. जैसा अश्विनी ने बताया था pacing spike हुआ, A हुआ, but V नहीं आया, ठीक है? अब मान लीजिए हम इसको और कम कर देते हैं, तो क्योर what will happen? Cure what will happen if I decrease this?
Sorry, sir.
लग रहा तुम चाय मांग रहे थे किसी से.
नहीं सर, वो कनेक्शन इशू आ रहा था. Just I'll fix this up.
कोई बात नहीं. Sandeepan, what will happen if I decrease this more?
Sir, only pacing spike, no A, no V.
Atrial capture failure.
Atrial capture failure जिसको हम बोलेंगे atrial ERP, ठीक है?
Atrial ERP.
ठीक है? Easy to understand, right? So अश्विनी क्या हो रहा है?
Yes, sir.
How many pacing spikes?
So 3 pacing spikes.
2 QRSs.
Yes, sir.
है ना? Now this is AV nodal ERP or atrial ERP. उसके लिए हमें पहचानना है कि A आ रहा है कि नहीं, ठीक है?
Yes, sir.
So A हमें बेस्ट कौन से चैनल में दिख रहा है? साइनस रिदम में कौन से चैनल में बेस्ट दिख रहा है? साइनस रिदम ये रहा।
Yes, sir.
अरे यस सर नहीं, कौन से चैनल में बेस्ट दिख रहा है?
So, CS 1, 2.
1, 2. So I come back here. Pacing spike A. Pacing spike
Yes.
A.
Yes, sir.
Pacing spike
No way.
no A. So this becomes, what does it become?
ATL effective refractive period.
Yeah. ठीक है. Only pacing stimulus.
Yes.
ठीक है.
Yes, sir.
सबके लिए ठीक है? Shall I move on?
Yes.
Fairly clear, na? Okay. So now I'll go back here for a minute. Normally क्या होता है? This A, I'll now just forget about the pacing. We know we are pacing the atrium. So this A, just follow my mouse. This A goes to this V. ठीक है? Okay. This A goes to this V. मैं सिर्फ A और V follow करूंगा. ठीक? I'll follow say CS 7, 8, A to V, A to V, A to V. Correct? And once I stop pacing, nothing extra comes. ठीक है? Pacing खत्म हुई, sinus rhythm आ गया. Okay? This is normal thing. So जब next tracing दिखाऊंगा, you just follow the A to V, A to V, A to V, A to V, and then quiescence. Nothing happens. Okay? So जब भी tachycardia generate करते हैं, after this pacing, we see कि कुछ extra हुआ कि नहीं CS में. ठीक है? कोई re-entry शुरू हुई कि नहीं हुई. So now let us go to this. How many pacing spikes you and Mehta? Pacing spikes आपको पता चलेगी sharp stimulus in the CS.
3 pacing spikes,
Three,
sir,
sir.
and 3 QRS.
Just a sec. 3 or 2?
3.
इसमें noise है?
No,
नहीं.
ठीक है? तो बड़ा subtle होता है कई बारी. So you see noise, some sharp stimulus here, right? Some sharp thing here. यहाँ पे वो sharp नहीं है. So 2 extra stimuluses. ठीक? Now just follow the A to V for me. ये A है और pacing spike भी है. This A goes to
B. A. B. A.
A कहाँ से आई?
हाँ.
Quiescence होना चाहिए था ना?
Yes, sir.
So this is what is called an echo beat.
Okay.
Echo हो गया ना? कहीं से गूंज आ गई उसकी. Now we come back to the AH jump जो आप बोल रहे थे. This A to this V. ठीक? ये A to V लंबा हो गया ना थोड़ा सा?
Yes, sir.
और मैं नीचे आऊंगा. Look at this AH. This is what is a jump. So if you imagine this A, अब हम QRS छोड़ देते हैं. इससे मैं दिखाता हूं, मैंने मार्क किया होगा, राइट? ये देखो आप नीचे AHV, ठीक है? ओके? नेक्स्ट में ये AH प्रोलॉन्ग हो गया, AH जंप हो गया. ये जो V है, यहां पे शांति हो जानी चाहिए थी, लेकिन ये जो V है, ये जंप हो गया. This V goes back and generates a A' or an echo beat. ठीक है? Shall I repeat it again? या clear है?
Clear, sir.
Clear ना?
Clear.
Now you tell. Now you tell me. ये जो AH है, ये prolong हुआ because antegrade it is going by the slow pathway. तभी AH prolong. And VA is very short because the retrograde return is through the fast pathway. It's like a slow, fast AV nodal echo. ओके, एंटीग्रेडली स्लो चला गया और रेट्रोग्रेडली इतनी जल्दी वापस आ गया कि जो ए है वो अगले क्यूआरएस के अंदर पड़ा है, जैसे एवियन आर्टरी में होता है ना. ओके, नाउ दिस ए डैश इज अनेबल टू गो आगे बिकॉज जो स्लो पाथवे है वो रिफ्रैक्टरी हो गया, तो इसलिए इट इज अनेबल टू जनरेट अ टैकीकार्डिया. सो दिस इज वन सिंगल एवी नोडल एको, एंड द वे यू विल रिकॉग्नाइज इट कि नॉर्मली पेसिंग जब आप करते हो, आई अगेन गो बैक टू दिस, जब आप पेसिंग करते हो लास्ट पेसिंग स्टिमुलस के बाद सीएस में कुछ एक्स्ट्रा नहीं आना चाहिए. ठीक है, सीएस में जैसे ही कुछ एक्स्ट्रा आएगी एक ए वेव, इफ यू सी इट इज फॉलोइंग विद इन द क्यूआरएस, इट इज अ एवी नोडल एको. अगर वो क्यूआरएस के बाहर पड़ी है तो नॉर्मली इट इज थ्रू अ पाथवे बिकॉज इट्स अ लॉन्गिश वी. आई विल शो यू एग्जांपल्स ऑफ बोथ. इको समझ आ गया?
आगे सर.
तो इको पहचानने के लिए बस आपको ये फिगर आउट करना पड़ेगा कि पेसिंग स्टिमुलस दो ही हैं, तो आप इसकी शेप से पहचान जाओगे. ठीक है, सो Sandeepan, tell me what is happening. How many pacing stimuli? Okay, I'll tell you there are two pacing stimuli. Let us, because अब आप CS5-6 देखो, sharp thing here, sharp thing here, nothing here, right? So I'll tell you two pacing stimuli. Okay, you are pacing the
Yes, sir.
A. Now just follow the QRSs for me. This A
followed by V, then A again followed by V. This is a echo cell.
and this A goes to this V
Yes,
and
sir. That
generates.
again
So
generates
how,
an echo.
so how
Two
you
echo
have how many echoes?
Two echo beats.
I said two echo beats, one and
Two AV nodal echoes, right? पहले में एक थी, तो मैं अब उसी को अगर आप फॉलो करोगे, दिस ए ये लॉन्ग ए एच से चला गया, जे एच जंप से, दिस वी गोज टू दिस ए एंड दिस गोज टू दिस वी, और ये, सो इट जनरेट्स टू एवी नोडल echoes. ठीक है, और अगर ये ए डैश और आगे आ जाती, इट विल जनरेट अ फ्रैंक एवी एनआरटी. ठीक है, Kevor, can you figure out what's happening? So I'll tell you three pacing spikes. 1, 2, 3. Which chamber is being paced?
Sir, atrium is being paced, sir, because
CS,
earlier it is
CS.
appearing in the coronary sign.
Yeah, CS is being paced. So the
Yes, sir.
just follow the. So there are three pacing spikes. Okay. So this
Yes,
A, this A goes
yes, sir,
to
the ventricle, left
this
ventricle,
A,
because it is.
this A.
So there is no ventricle.
नहीं, this A goes to this V ना. भाई ये
Yes,
A
sir.
इस V में गया, ये A इस V
Yes,
में
sir.
गया,
Yes.
ये A इस V में गया. ठीक है.
Yes, sir.
अगर आप देखो ये A long AH, so now this
Yes.
comes back to this A, ये फिर V में गया, ये A में चला गया, ये V में चला
Yes,
गया,
sir.
ये A में चला गया. तो फ्रैंक पहले एक AV नोडल एको का मैंने एग्जांपल दिया था, फिर दो AV नोडल एको आई, अब ये फ्रैंक टैकीकार्डिया सेटअप हो गया. सो आई विल जस्ट
Yes, sir.
आउट फॉर यू. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आपने पेसिंग स्पाइक्स देख ली, 3 पेसिंग स्पाइक्स हैं. ठीक है,
Yes, sir.
पेसिंग स्पाइक हैं. लास्ट पेसिंग स्पाइक हमने फॉलो किया, दिस A long H, long AH, slow pathway, this V, A dash, right? So it sets up a AV nodal reentrant tachycardia. And this is called a V on A tachycardia. Devrat, why is it a V on A tachycardia? Why is the VA interval so short? Why is the V interval? AV and RT में हम लोग ECG में देखते हैं ना, pseudo R, pseudo S. So why is the P wave falling inside the QRS?
So because वो fast pathway से retrograde करता है तो.
Correct. So retrograde conduction is very fast. तो अगर आप ये देखिए, ये जो V है ventricle, ये इतनी जल्दी ए में लौट आया, फिर ए जो है धीरे धीरे आगे गया वेंट्रिकल में, स्लो फास्ट एवीएन आर्टरी, ठीक है। Kevor, what tachycardia is happening? विजय क्लास में हूं मैं, जो भी कॉल करता हूँ। What tachycardia is happening?
सर अभी
विजय क्लास में हूं, अभी कॉल करता हूँ। What tachycardia is this?
सर ओनली वेंट्रिकल।
No, tachycardia is happening. So is it a V on A tachycardia? विजय Zoom lecture में हूं।
यस सर।
Sorry. So if you see, CS 910 is the A ना, ठीक है? CS 910 reflects the A.
यस
So A जो है QRS के dead center में पड़ा हुआ है, ठीक है? Look at the CSA. So this is V on A tachycardia. So for your practical purposes, for you guys, V on A tachycardia इतना short V है केवल AVNRT में होता है, ठीक है? So यदि कोई आपको ऐसे ट्रेसिंग दिखाए, आप फटाफट देखिए, this does not look like a sinus rhythm, है ना? आपको H मतलब इतना फास्ट नहीं होगा। सो अगर आप देखें, मैं केवल एक A रैंडम पिकअप कर लूं, दिस A
में हो सकता है क्या?
सॉरी, एब्सोल्युटली जंक्शनल वे, बेसिकली AVNRT is a junctional type tachycardia, no? So jet is usually junctional ectopic tachycardia. So usually it is irregular. So anything which will activate the junction very fast will have a very short VA tachycardia. But you know, for practical purposes हम लोग AVNRT की बात कर रहे हैं, ठीक है? So अगर आप clearly देखोगे, ये जो A है and this H, if you see this one, so antegrade slow, retrograde fast, ठीक है? तो अगर VA इतना short है, it has to be AVNRT mostly, ठीक है? ये values होती हैं, I'm sure you guys would read it in books, but practically speaking, V on A tachycardia, ठीक है? Now, can you tell me this? उन्हें catheters डाले and suddenly the tachycardia gets induced, ठीक है? This catheter is in the right atrium.
Yes, sir.
So do you think it's AVNRT? AVNRT तो है क्या? V on A tachycardia है? करेक्ट नहीं है। So जैसे ही आपने देखा, A जो है वो V के बाहर पड़ा हुआ है, देख रहे हो? V इधर है, A इधर है। So this is not V. पिछला वाला देखो आप, this is what is a V on A tachycardia, ठीक है? So as soon as you see that the A is outside, so this is a long VA tachycardia.
Yes sir.
देवव्रत, इसका क्या डिफरेंशियल हो सकता है?
एक तो PGRT हो सकता है,
पाथवे हो सकता है, और एट्रियल टैकीकार्डिया हो सकता है,
एट्रियल टैकीकार्डिया हो सकता है,
एटिपिकल AVNRT हो सकता है, ठीक है?
Yes,
ये दो तीन पॉसिबिलिटी हो सकती है। सो इट इज नॉट टिपिकल AVNRT, ठीक है?
So can it be a sinus tachycardia?
साइनस टैकीकार्डिया यूजुअली हो सकता है, बट अगर इसका रेट हम देखेंगे तो इट्स अबाउट 180-190. सो यूजुअली हाँ, so the point is to show you a long VA tachycardia versus a V on A tachycardia. So जब भी SVT हम देखते हैं, we see the, जैसे हमने RV में देखा था, we see the earliest atrial activation. So ये tachycardia हो रहा है देवव्रत and team and party, tachycardia हो रहा है। अगर हमने इससे देखा, I'll tell you this is RF distal, आप इग्नोर कर दो। CS 910 is proximal, CS 12 is distal, this is his bundle, ठीक है?
Yes.
So does it look like AVNRT to you?
AVNRT नहीं है sir.
Excellent, AVNRT नहीं है. Now how are the CSS getting activated?
Eccentric activation is there.
Very good. So CS अगर आप देखो तो clearly नीचे से ऊपर जा रही है।
नीचे से ऊपर।
ओहो, यार मेरे एक मिनट, my battery is running down. Shit, man. एक मिनट, shall I stop sharing? एक मिनट, हाँ. Just a minute. Okay.
બેગ માં છે જમવાનું થોડું કાઢ મારા બેગ.
Sir, fantastic set of questions.
हाँ नहीं नहीं मेरा असल में my battery has died actually computer की. तो मैं यहीं बंद कर देता हूँ. बंद कर दो या चालू हो गई. एक मिनट, एक स्लाइड और
तो सर बता दीजिए. हाँ please, please.
Sorry.
But I was in the meantime I was saying, I mean, I remember attending one of your sessions at UN Mehta live, which was, I think, spotters in congenital. And I continue to get amazed now that the topic has changed, but the speakers shows the same fluency.
अरे
बस ये जो 12 tracing लोग रट के जाते हैं एग्जाम में, you made it so simplified in 1 hour. I think they'll not forget it in the next 3 years also. So EP is something that unless you practice, probably you'll get out of touch and then you forget. But it was so lucid that I think if anybody who was attending this, even the recorded session, would remember it for life.
Hopefully they'll not forget. मैं बस एक स्लाइड और दिखा दूं.
Yes sir, please do it.
ठीक है. So as UN Mehta guys were telling absolutely correctly, so this seems to be a long VA tachycardia and the CS activation is eccentric, absolutely correct. And अगर आप देखो, I draw out a line here, so CS12 is clearly ahead, his bundle is late, है ना? So this is a left lateral pathway perhaps. So I'll just go to one maybe last slide. Okay. Keyur, AVNRT or not?
No sir, it's not AVNRT.
Excellent. Which CS you think seems to be activated first? CS78563412.
Sir, 34 is getting activated for earliest, sir.
Superb. देखो डॉक्टर कमल के लेक्चर सुन के पुराने वाले भी आप लोग महारथ ही बन गए. CS34 is the one which is getting activated early. And Sandeepan, where would be the pathway be then?
Sir, left posterior.
Yeah, so it is left posterolateral or something, right? So, okay, this is ये last है, promise. UN Mehta, last question. AVNRT or no? UN Mehta हैं या चले गए? देवरत.
Yes sir. AVNRT नहीं है sir.
AVNRT नहीं है. Which CS activated first?
Central activation 910 is getting activated first.
Concentric. आप central मत बोलो because tachycardia है ना. So CS 910 seems to be getting activated first, as you correctly said, not AVNRT. So perhaps it's a pathway. कहाँ पे होगा? 910 कहाँ पे बैठा है?
Posterior septal.
Correct, absolutely correct. So it's somewhere close to the CS os. Dr. Kamal sir, stop कर देता हूँ मैं. हाँ. Kamal साहब, shall I stop?
Yes sir.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Stop.
So thank you very much, sir. It was a wonderful session, and I request each and every student to remember that one spotter which is always asked in all DNB spotters is localization of pathway of an accessory pathway. It's always asked. I mean, this is one sure shot spotter that you can remember, will always be asked in whatever spotter exam you're doing. And I think rather than just showing you those 5 spotters as to one lateral and one posteroseptal, Dr. Kapoor has also explained how to reach that. And that's more important. And thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful session. And I look forward to have you again and meet you soon for some additional learning. Thank you very much. Over to Team Macleod.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. It's already been too late. And it has always been an endeavor to Macleods in providing the latest scientific update through Cardio Masterclass with the eminent faculties and head of department Dr. Kamal sir, thank you so much for your availability, sir. And excellent presentation from Dr. Aditya Kapoor, sir. So thank you so much for enriching, and we'll always be remember. And thank you to all DM students for here being. And as I like to share, sir, again today for this session also we got 980 registration, and across India around close to 480 people are watching this. So thank you so much, sir. It's been really very successful last 1.5 months. So many things. And as Aditya sir requested us, definitely, sir, we will share all the links and the recorded YouTube links to everyone.
Thank you,
Kamal sir.
thank
And
you,
thank you,
guys.
Aditya sir.
Thank you, guys, and
Thank you,
thank you, Dr. Kamal, for having me on board, and thank you to the students also. बहुत अच्छे आपने answers दिए. So great show, and thank you, Dr. Kamal, once again for inviting.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you for joining, and
Thank
it's
you all.
wonderful to have you. And as promised by Macleod, we should be having prizes for the students that we had decided before we started presentation, right? So Macleod had promised best case presenter and best spotters. So maybe the team along with Dr. Majan and maybe Dr. Kapoor or some other senior faculty can go through the videos and they can take a call along with all our faculties as to which of the students. I think you should actually present a moment to
Dr. Kamal mute हो गए.
Yeah, I look forward to having each one of you in future again. Thank you very much. Good night, everyone.
बिल्कुल. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye.